Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports, who's back with us now on the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, and streaming live on the X platform at 973 ESPN. Use the hashtag SB Live to find us. Jeff Kerr, what is up, my man? How are you, my brother?
Mike Gill, doing pretty well. I'll just say that. Just getting some more news as we're speaking right now.
Yes. Was this Phillies related or Eagles related? What do you got?
This is actually Phillies related. So people like to stir the pot on a lot of things, and I'm trying to clarify here. Players are allowed to determine if they want to go on rehab assignments or not, per the CBA. Trey Turner doesn't have to go on one. Bryce Harper didn't go on one last year. Brandon Marsh obviously must have accepted one because, I heard for days he was going to be in Reading. Well, he is officially in Reading.
Yeah, Dombrowski kind of hinted that he didn't know where he was. He said Lehigh, but you're saying he's in Reading?
Yeah, Lehigh's on the road, so Reading's at home. I'm pretty close with a lot of people in the Reading Phillies organization. So, yeah, he's there. Reading just had a couple promotions today. Aiden Miller just got promoted to Jersey Shore. I don't know if you heard that one yet. So, yeah, a lot of stuff's happening.
All right. Jeff Kerr, by the way, yes, he does cover the Phillies for CBS as well. But you had a chance to really zone in on the Eagles last week and some NFC East news. So let's kind of look back at the mandatory camp, overreactions that we've been hearing, starting with some people believe in some disconnect between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. Now, I wasn't here. I was in London. So when I got home, I'm starting to hear all this stuff. I said to Josh, where's this audio that I'm missing? Is there something that I'm missing here? I listened to the audio. I don't hear much disconnect. Is there an overreaction, or did you look at it and say, Mike Gill, you missed it?
So I was sitting basically right in front of Jalen Hurts when he answered this. And my alarm bells went off because Jalen Hurts usually has an answer to everything. And he prepares for these press conferences probably as well as anybody prepares for anything. So for him to get stumped or thrown off by a question and just kind of not having an answer, and it was a softball question, not that it raised a red flag, but I think it's something to monitor. I'll just leave it at that. I don't like how he answered it. Because if you remember earlier, our buddy John McMullen, in that press conference, asked Jalen Hurts about, I think it was about Kellen Moore. No, it wasn't even about that. I think it was about I forget what John's question was, but Jalen Hurts went out of his way to mention 95% of the offense is new.
Yes.
So he does everything intentionally.
Yeah, so I guess you're right. He said, hey, 95% of the offense is new. I want to master it. I want to, basically make this my offense. But, is he taking a shot at Sirianni in any way with what he's saying here? Or is this him just kind of pausing and saying, Nick's Nick, man? You asked the question over at CBS Sports, is this an overreaction or a reality? Now, you listed as an overreaction, but something you're going to keep an eye on.
Yeah, exactly. It's an overreaction. I don't think to be honest, I don't know if there was a disconnect between him and Nick Sirianni. I didn't think this was a question a week ago at this time. I didn't think it was a question until during Thursday's practice, until this all happened. But it's content and it's June. So,
well, I was going to say, is it because it's June and this is the end of the Eagles and the Phillies are 9 games up, or is this a legitimate thing?
I think time will tell. And that's what I wanted to point out.
Well, I think you did a good job over at CBSSports.com of kind of, giving Hurts's answer, describing it with, how he had a long pause, the follow-up question, and kind of gave a chance for everybody because it was really like, if you just listened to the question, it was kind of hard to hear the question in the audio that we heard, but, it just seemed to me if Hurts is just Hurts. He just doesn't give you much. He's very guarded with everything he says.
Yeah, he is. And, I always just covering him the last couple of years, he just seems to, though, know what he's getting, right? So to not know that might be a lapse on Hurts' part. And here's the problem. We're not going to hear from Jalen until the first day of training camp. So he'll have a chance to basically correct whatever mess this is. I don't even think it is a mess. I just think it's something we're talking about. And again, it's funny, Mike. Like a week ago, when I was on here, if you would have asked me if Jalen Hurts is a disconnect from Nick Sirianni, I'd be like, what what are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, again, I was away. I got back yesterday, and I'm reading all this stuff about disconnect, and there's something brewing, and I'm like, Josh, you got to play me this audio. Did I miss something monumental here? And then he played it for me. I was like, yeah, I don't know that there's a lot there for my liking. Maybe I didn't read it into it the same way others did. But, hey, let's look into some other news that you're covering over at CBSSports.com. Jeff Kerr covers the NFL. Paris Campbell, John Ross, they drafted a couple of guys. Are one of those guys going to have a big role, or is there a guy maybe that's not here that the Eagles are going to have to bring in?
Well, I thought John Ross had a really good mandatory minicamp. In fact, I think he's been impressive for a guy who's been out of football. But is he really going to be the wide receiver 3, or is that a telltale sign that, maybe this team's going to look elsewhere or look outside the organization? I threw out Hunter Renfro's name just because he's probably the best wide receiver 3 out there, and he fits that slot receiver role. I would imagine the Eagles are going to do something, right? You wouldn't expect Anaya Smith to take this job right away. I think they would like Paris Campbell to take this job, but I don't know if he's going to or not. And again, things can change when pads come on, but I think they're going to add somebody in that mix.
All right. Renfro's the guy that you mentioned over at CBSSports.com. He's probably the best slot guy out there. Yeah, I mean, I think he would be an interesting fit. Always hurt, though. Always seems to be the problem there. Before I left for London, James Bradbury was playing safety. But will he be in the cornerback mix when camp begins?
Well, he never did play safety because he fell on his face in individual drills, and we never saw him, at least in team drills. I mean, they did come back. When did you leave for London, Mike?
My last show was Tuesday.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, that's right. I wasn't on with you last week. So
I left on Wednesday. Last week, Wednesday.
Yeah, because I think when you wanted me on, I think practice or press conferences were still going on. But yeah, it was that was something. James Bradbury just pretty much fell flat on his face. I'm like, oh, I guess we're not going to see him again. Well, we had in team drills, but yeah, I'm curious to see how.
Yeah, but are you surprised Sirianni volunteered that he was going to work out with the safeties, whether he did or not? Sirianni did volunteer that he would be.
I think it was intentional that he was going to mention that. I think he wanted to give Kaylee Ringo and Isaiah Rodgers some reps at cornerback, and Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and guys like that, and say, hey, you know what this is for? Let's try him out here. Let's cross-train him. And I think Vic Fangio likes to cross-train guys. Maybe James Bradbury just doesn't have the speed at cornerback anymore, but I'm convinced if James Bradbury's here, he's going to get every opportunity to win that job. I don't know how he's going to start safety because it's C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship or Avonte Maddox or whoever they're going to put back there, or maybe even Cooper DeJean. I still think Cooper DeJean should be at safety, but he could be the slot cornerback too. It's going to be an interesting puzzle they're going to have to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, because I thought, when Bradbury was supposedly going to go play safety, I'm thinking, how do you – listen, whether Bradbury wins the job or not, if he's here, how do you not at least give him the opportunity to win the job instead of just ambushing him and pushing him over to sit? Now, I don't know if ambushing him. I don't know if they just surprise, hey, by the way, you're playing safety, but I'll be interested to see if he has a legitimate shot, if he's in that mix to win that cornerback job. Sounds like you think he is.
I think he's got a shot, but, I mean, Kaylee Ringo and Isaiah Rodgers and Quinyon Mitchell have been playing the way they are. He's going to lose.
If he's going to lose, I would say, Jeff Kerr, if he's the player we saw last year. But if he's the player we saw the year before, do they have a guy that was a key part of their Super Bowl team?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I don't think he's going to be as bad as he was last year. But are they ready to turn the page? And are they ready to take that gamble with Ringo, Rodgers, or their first-round pick? And again, I think they would love to have Quinyon Mitchell sit and learn before putting him in. I was going to put this in my early reactions or not. The Eagles are going to trade Isaiah Rodgers, and I stayed away from it.
All right. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that one as we get closer to camp. Yeah, a lot of bodies here. Ringo, Rodgers, Mitchell, Slay, Maddox, and others, Job, Ricks. I mean, there's a lot of guys that everybody, if you were to pick a guy's name out of a hat, you can make a case why that guy should be given an opportunity. But you think that Bradbury will be given the opportunity. That's something we'll keep an eye on as well. There's another job that's open, Jeff Kerr, and that is right guard. What about Mekhi Becton? Will he be the guy that wins the right guard battle? Overreaction, reality. This one's interesting.
For a franchise and an organization that pretty much told us Mekhi Becton wasn't going to learn guard or cross-train guard when he came here, you couldn't have fooled me over the past month because, you know what, Landon Dickerson's not here. Why don't we just put Mekhi Becton at left guard and see how he looks? Why don't we're not happy with Matt Hennessy competing with Tyler Steen, so let's sign Max Sharping for more depth at guard. Oh, by the way, we're also playing Mekhi Becton at left guard. It seems to me like the Eagles want to give Mekhi Becton the shot to win the right guard job.
Yeah. This happened right before I left, was Becton played left guard that day because Dickerson was out. So I asked the question, if you're going to put him at left guard, why not just give him all the reps at right guard so that he could be a legitimate contender for that right guard job? But you think even without that, he is not only a contender, but you think he'll win that job?
Yeah, I think they want him to just get reps at guard. And again, I don't think that's fair to a Tyler Steen either, because Tyler Steen's been getting the first team right guard reps and his lockers with the first team guys. I mean, what message does it send to Tyler Steen if you just start with Mekhi Becton in that right guard right away, right? I mean, you really got to move Tyler Steen over the left guard now. It just, everything just seemed to fall into place that with Landon Dickerson having an excused absence.
Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, covers the NFL. We know the Eagles signed Saquon Barkley, but after watching mini camps, do they need to add another running back, or is that room pretty solid?
I mean, I think the room's solid, but I think they could add one. Kenny Gainwell wasn't too great last week. I'll just be as blunt as I can. Sorry. He dropped 2 passes. Just, if he's going to be back at running back, I don't see it. It might be Will Shipley. I thought Will Shipley had a good camp, but and again, this isn't really a big thing because Saquon Barkley is a 3-down running back and he's going to play a lot. But you're going to need depth there. I think they're fine with Gainwell and Shipley, but unless Kendall Milton just really turns heads in camp, I think they could add someone there. And look, Milton had a good minicamp, don't get me wrong. But Tyrion Davis-Price didn't. Lou Nichols didn't. There's good free agent running backs available, and you have cap space. You might want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, we know Barkley would assume anyway. Jeff has a bigger role. I guess we should ask it that way. Does Barkley, in your mind, have a bigger role as the running back than Sanders and Swift did the last 2 seasons?
Yes, I think so. I think, 1, because you're paying him that much. And 2, if he stays healthy, I think he's going to get 20 to 25 snaps a game. Now, obviously, that's not all or touches a game. Sorry, snaps. That'd be terrible if he only got 20, 25 snaps a game. So, yeah, touches, yes. But who gets the other touches? Is it Gainwell? Is it Shipley? Is it both? Do they mix them in? But, Mike, just think of it this way. How about a Kareem Hunt type player look on this team?
Well, I mean, obviously, Hunt's a very talented guy. He's had a lot of injury problems. But as a second guy to Barkley, although, he was him and what's his name kind of split time in Cleveland.
Nick Chubb or
Chubb.
Yeah. And look, they also split Kareem Hunt's time last year when they brought him back. Remember, after Nick Chubb got hurt. So, I mean, maybe that's Kareem Hunt's role now, but he's pretty good at that role.
Well, I think the big thing here with this conversation is if Barkley were to get hurt, which he has a lot in his career, do they have a guy on this roster that can fulfill that role moving forward? That's where Boston Scott kind of excelled. When someone got hurt and you needed Boston Scott to have a big role for a week or two, he did a good job there. Can Kenny Gainwell and Will Shipley or anybody else on this roster, if Barkley gets hurt for 4 weeks, can they handle that?
I'm still kind of surprised they let Boston Scott go, to be honest with you.
I agree.
They just let him walk. And you know what? The guy last year, I was kind of surprised they let go, even though I kind of knew it just based on training camp and how things played out. Trey Sermon.
Well, that was the whole thing last year. Remember, Sirianni mentioned his name, and he was the only name. And Trey Sermon must be having a big role on this team, and that never really happened. But hey, I guess the Eagles, by the way, did confirm. You just wrote this over at CBS Sports that they will wear the Kelly green uniforms in 2024. So that should be something that people are a little pumped up about as well, as we're all looking at nostalgia in terms of. Well, I was saying earlier, Jeff. The London game experience is probably the best live sporting event that I've ever been to.
Really? It was that fun? Because I talked to a couple people besides, this is the first time I've talked to you about, but I talked to a couple people that went over there, and they loved it. They loved everything about it.
I don't see how, if you're a Phillies fan, I don't see how it wasn't one of the best baseball experiences that you've ever had. Outside of I'm saying not like a game. I was at Roy Halladay's no-hitter in the playoffs. I was there when they went to the NLCS when they beat the Dodgers. I was at the Grand Slam when Victorino hit it off CC Sabathia. That was awesome. I was
too, by the way.
I was at the Grand Slam last year when Stott hit it off of Miami. But
by the way, Mike, what's the loudest you've ever heard Citizens Bank Park ever?
I would say that Grand Slam against the Brewers was the place was rocking, man.
Yeah, so there were two moments for me, and it's funny because I was at the World Series when they won. It was that Grand Slam, the stadium shook, and when Reese hit the home run off Strider.
Yeah, I wasn't at that game, but I heard it from other people.
I'll tell you what, that is the loudest I've heard that stadium, period, because no one was quiet the rest of the game. It was, we're not just going to beat this team. We're going to pummel them into the ground, and we're going to let them know about it.
The Grand Slam that Stott hit last year, the place was rocking, man. It was.
Yeah, it was.
It was pretty cool. But this event, I can't, because I haven't been to the Super Bowl game,
but you've been to the Super Bowl. You've been to the experience.
Yes, but like the Super Bowl takes over the town. This does not take over the town. There's the locals have no idea that this is there. They don't care.
They didn't even care it was there, right?
No, not at all. They didn't care. But the Phillies fans in particular taking over the town in the way they wanted to. You know what I'm saying? They didn't care that nobody else knew about this. This was our event, and we were going to get every morsel out of this that we could. I had a blast, I think, and doing it with so many Phillies. It's not like you went with two of your buddies, and it was all, English people, and then you and your two buddies. No, there was 30,000 Phillies fans at this game. It was an amazing, amazing experience.
I think it was an opportunity for a lot of people to see London too, which is awesome.
Listen, it was a dual trip. I had never been to London. I said, look, the Phillies are there. I've never been to London. Let's kill two birds with one stone. I didn't go to both games. I only went to one for that reason. My cousin and his girlfriend, they were like, hey, let's go to the game on Saturday. They kind of got the itch to go. I said, listen, I came to see London as much as I could, and I have a game to go to on Sunday. So you guys go to the game. No offense taken. If you want to go to the game, go. Enjoy it. But the one game was enough. In fact, I actually think going to one game was better because I think it would have kind of changed the dynamics of the energy and the uniqueness of that thing if I went there twice.
And you know what? See, this is where I agree with you. I probably would have done the same thing as much as I love baseball, and I probably would have covered it if I would have went. But I agree with you. I would go to London to see London. No disrespect to anybody who went to Passyunk Avenue. I don't think I'd go there. I don't think I'd go to a Philly bar in London. I think I'd go somewhere in London.
Well, I will say I went to Passyunk the one night, and there was Rob Thompson was there. He paid for the tab.
So you were there the night they were there then. Okay. Yeah, that's a little different.
Well, we went the night that we got off the plane. So we were kind of hitting fumes, and that was around the corner from our hotel. So we were kind of like, hey, we saw UK Phillies tweeting that they were there, so we went over and checked it out. So it was cool. The bar is really cool, by the way. It's in a kind of a touristy section underneath the graffiti tunnels.
Yeah. Did you get to meet UK Phillies at all?
I hung out with UK Philly. He was all right. I hung out with him the whole weekend.
Yeah. And you know what? I think it's really cool, like, how he got into it. And it's funny. He didn't get into it, like, into this team, like, 07 to 11. I think he started in, like, 12 or 13. Because I remember I was following him in 15. I'm like, wow, this guy's, like, legit. Like, this guy's really cool.
I don't know how he kept going. He was out every single night and then up early doing stuff. I mean, that guy is a rock star. Nice guy. He was overwhelmed at times, though, about the people who wanted to take pictures with him and how everybody knew him. I don't know.
He's all over, like, Citizens Bank Park. Like, when they do all the, like, the stuff with fans, they always show him.
Nice guy. His name's Dave, by the way.
Dave Shaw, right?
I didn't ask him his last name, but his name is Dave. I also met UK Eagles, who is Liam.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was a UK Eagle.
Yeah, it's not quite as big as the Phillies one, but he was at the game as well, wearing an Eagles Kelly green jacket, by the way. But those two guys were hanging out together. Yes, I did hang out with UK Phillies. And, so the Passyunk Avenue thing, it was cool because of where it was. It was in the graffiti tunnels, which is kind of a touristy thing that you could walk through and check out, and the bar was in there. But it's a pretty cool bar, like why they do it and how they got all the memorabilia and all this stuff. But, yes, I was there the night Rob Thompson went there.
Is the guy who runs it from Philly? Is that the catch?
I don't think so.
That's even more interesting.
Yeah, we talked to the guy because one of the guys from Philly Sports Trip's wife's birthday was that night, and they kept it open late for them to have the birthday party. That's the night that we went. Yeah.
That's awesome, though, by the way. Like I said, I probably wouldn't go. Like, if I knew I was there on a finite amount of time, like, say, 3 days, I probably wouldn't go see it. But I also get why you would go see it if you've never been to London. You're probably never going again.
No, but my favorite was I went to the Bermondsey Beer Mile, craft beer mile that not a lot of locals knew about, by the way. Like, they were like, whoa, I never heard about this place. So we were educating them about this place. It's over by the Tower Bridge over down that way. But all right, man. Well, Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, giving us a little Phillies news. Marsh at Reading tonight. And, of course.
Not playing, though. He will be rehabbing. He's not playing. He's not in the lineup.
Gotcha. Not in the lineup, but he's at Reading, rehabbing. And, of course, we got you the Eagles updates from last week's mandatory mini camps from Jeff Kerr's perspective over at CBSSports.com. All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
By the way, Mike, it's really weird how everybody seems to have mandatory mini camp and the Eagles had theirs last week.
There were 17 teams that had it last week, though, right?
Was it 17? I thought it was less than that. I would say it was like 9.
There was a decent amount. I mean, I wasn't here all week.
There was a decent amount. Don't get me wrong, but
well, no more Eagles for a little while.
Yeah, I'm kind of ready for football season, but I'm not ready. Or I said I'm ready for the grind of football season, but I kind of need that break.
Well, you're getting it until July, and they'll be back.
Yeah, well, I'll be at the Phillies on Monday. Back on the Phillies beat. So.
Good stuff. All right, Jeff. We'll talk to you soon, bud.
It sounds great. Thanks, Mike.
All right, Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, of course. You could check him out at Jeff Kerr, CBS, for all his NFL coverage.